Welcome to the Global Speaker Advantage, the #1 podcast where your voice goes beyond borders. Hosted by Oliver Sham, international speaker and coach, this show is for speakers ready to grow influence, land paid gigs, and make a global impact. Tune in every Tuesday and Friday weekly for insights, interviews, and strategies to help you thrive on the world stage. Let's go global.
Hey. This is the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, where every episode is the masterclass for voices that want to rise. I am your host, Oliver Shaum, and we are on a mission to touch every voice in any corner of the world that wants to have a breakthrough in their speaking career, that want to rise, and of course, that wants to make a global impact. Let's make this count. Dear friend, wherever you're watching us from around the world, this is one of a type and one of a kind episode. And together with our team, we are having an incredible guest. And this is not any other, but the one and only Eyong Takang Enoh. Welcome, Eyong.
Thank you so much, Oliver. I'm so blessed and honored to be here on this platform together with you.
Beautiful. And just before we dive deeper, let just a little bit about Eyong for those who don't know him and for those who have heard so much about him, they want to know more about him. Eyong Enoh's remarkable career spans over 2 decades and 4 continents. As the former vice captain of the Cameroon National team, he proudly represented his country in the World Cup tournaments in South Africa in 2010. Of course, I watched it live from Cameroon, and kudos, it was awesome. And not only in South Africa, but in Brazil in 2014.
Yes.
And of course, we're there in Douala watching and shouting and screaming, as well as the African Cup of Nations 2010, and of course, recently 2015. His leadership on and off the pitch has been a hallmark of his journey. Beyond football, Eyong has channeled his passion into various entrepreneurial ventures, including his role as the Chief Executive Officer of the 4P Baller and as the author of Become a Successful Pro Footballer. He also provides consultancy services to many sports agencies around the world, with a master's degree in sport management and lifestyle from Rome Business School and training at the prestigious Ajax Coaching Academy. Eyong is dedicated to making meaningful contributions to the world of sports and beyond. Frank, just as we dived in, Eyong, we have thousands of young people that watch the Global Speakers Advantage podcast every single day and every single week. And they have some voices they want to share based on their experiences, and we will just enjoy a few of them, and so you can also hear the impact that is expected of you to make right here in this platform. So we have a couple of them from different parts of the world, and just enjoy the beautiful voices even as we play to get feedback on them, even as we dive deeper. Okay?
Yeah.
Hello world. I'm called Professor Kisa. I'm the founder and executive director of DSR Academy and the co-founder of Dare TV Show. I am from Bamenda, Cameroon, and I am this week spotlight listener of Global Speaker Advantage podcast. Why do I tune in every Tuesday and Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me of my voice, my story, and my purpose, how it matters to the world, both locally and globally. Since I've been listening, I've gained insight from top global speakers on how to restructure my organization to create more impact. I've learned the importance of investing in my reputation. If you are out there watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep watching Global Speaker Advantage podcast, because not just a show, it's a movement. Thank you very much, Oliver Sean, for creating this platform, and I am honored to be this week's Spotlight listener of.
Every successful person has once been a contender that refused to give up. Hello everyone, I'm Fonika Trying from Yaoundé, Cameroon. Listening to the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, I have learned that success is not a destination but a journey. Every person I've listened and watched through the Global Speakers Advantage podcast have gone through struggles, setbacks, and failures, but they all refuse to yield to it. They all overcome it. So I have learned to hold on to my struggles, to trust the process, and to keep showing up every day, even when it gets tough. So I invite you to keep listening to the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, because it's a game changer for me. It's going to be a game changer for you too. And I want to thank Mr. Oliver Sean for the good work he's been doing.
Hello all, my name is Fondini Prosper Wisani from Kribi in Cameroon. I'm this week's Spotlight listener on Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Why I tuned in on Tuesday and on Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire me, it ignites. It reminds me that my story, my voice, and my purpose matter locally and globally. Since I have started listening, I have gained the courage to start speaking and taking public speaking courses. It's like having a front row seat to greatness every single week. To anyone out there watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep listening, because the Global Speakers Advantage podcast isn't just a show, it's a movement. Thank you, Coach Oliver, for creating this platform. I'm honored to be this week's Spotlight listener.
Hello all, I'm Billy Stephanie from Bamenda, Cameroon. I am this week's Spotlight listener of the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. And why do I tune in every Tuesday and Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me that my voice, my story, and my purpose matters, both locally and globally. If you're listening to this, I just want you to keep watching. I want you to keep moving. I want you to understand that life is a journey and we should never give up. Keep watching the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, because someday you will tell your own story. Thank you, Oliver, for creating this opportunity, and I'm so grateful to be this week's Spotlight listener on the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Over to you, Oliver Shaw.
Thank you so much to everybody watching from around the world, and for those inspiring stories of hope, of resilience and grit. Of course, today we have a guest who is going to be expanding more on some of the stories. Eyong, you've heard from the voices from around the world, especially from Africa, Cameroon, their aspirations, why they listen. And of course, that reminds you about what they expect of you today. And for those who will be sharing their stories after your session. Eyong, let's start with this. You are very, very popular, and a lot of people know you for this particular statement. Don't rob the world of a better you. Some of my mentees in Cameroon, they shared this with me after you delivered a compelling keynote at the just ended Lead Mission International Conference in Yaoundé, Cameroon. And many of them kept bringing back that very statement, don't rob the world of a better you. And there was no better way for us to begin this conversation than you explain to us, what do you always mean when you make this statement, don't rob the world of a better you, Eyong?
Well, I think that particular statement is a statement that is very intrinsic and a statement that put the spotlight. Remember, you just put the spotlight on a few people sharing the impact of this amazing podcast on them. You and I grew up from Cameroon, African background, where there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of obstacles, there are a lot of difficulties. And I usually tell people that the easy way out is to use what I call the ABC syndrome. And someone asked me, what is the ABC syndrome? The ABC syndrome is the accuse, blame, and complain syndrome. There is always something, someone to accuse. There's always someone to blame. There is someone to complain about. Now, the only question is, if you're complaining, accusing, and blaming other people, what about you? So I usually say, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what happened around you, where you were born. When you come to that point, when you realize that what you do can make a whole difference, what you decide can make a whole difference. The next decision you make can shift everything in your life and your generation. And I will say it this way, that one decision can shift your life, and a future generation who will hear your story and they will say, wow, if he did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So my message to a lot of young people is, if you don't make that shift in your life, you are robbing the world of a better you. Today in the US, people talk about Martin Luther King Jr. He had a dream. Can one man make a difference? He stood up and he had a dream. The dream was beyond himself. That dream has shaped democracy, civil rights movements. Today we talk about the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We talk about streets. We talk about this. Now, he did not rob the world of a better him. If he had stood to excuse that, oh, there's racism, there is this, I can't do this, I can't do this, he would have robbed us today of that Martin Luther King Jr. that we are celebrating. And so, coming from a background where I was playing soccer, religion did not permit me to play. My family did not understand why I was playing. I had a lot of reasons to excuse myself not to play. I had a lot of obstacles to excuse myself not to play. Now, today everybody is saying, Eyong Enoh inspire us. Oliver Sean inspire us. Well, if I'd made other decisions, I would have robbed the world to see a better me. And so that statement is a challenge to look beyond the obstacle. It's a challenge to think about growth, to think about the process of life rather than the circumstances. And that's why that quote is a very special quote to me, because I'm challenging people to take advantage of the moment and make it a movement.
Wow. Thank you. You're speaking to me, and I hope the young person gets that listening to you, So getting deeper, let's begin with the storm part of your life. The moments that broke or tested you the most. What was the season in your life that it could be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that tested you the most in your career of being a footballer and 20 years time?
Okay, so talking about moments that tested, that shifted me, for me to talk about the one in my career, I need to talk about one other one that happened that many people don't know. So I was in a high school, university in Tico, and I was one of the top students in school. Now, and I was doing very well. I was coming top first three. When we did the exams before the main exams, you call it the mock. So that's the pre-exam before the main one at the ordinary levels and advanced level. Something happened for the first time. I didn't pass. When everybody in the family know you are very smart, you're very intelligent, and then suddenly something happened and you don't make it. Everybody
Yep.
starts to wonder what's going on with you.
Mm.
Maybe soccer is what is distracting you. Maybe you're starting to do some funny stuff. So for me, I was even surprised myself that I didn't make it.
Mm.
And so that put a big shock. That was a turning moment for me. I started to
Mm.
ask questions because I literally helped some of my classmates explain certain things to them and get them to understand it. And most of them passed, but I didn't pass.
Wow.
And so I experienced the first test of what you people call failure.
Mm.
And that is what I didn't know what failure was. All I knew was having good grades, passing, everybody celebrating you, but missing the mark and how to deal with it. I didn't know. That was the first time. And so that was a big turning point in my life. And that for the first time made me to think, oh, everybody was really celebrating me because I was doing well.
Mm.
Now that I didn't do well, what happened? I'm not getting nobody coming to find out from me and say, hey, what happened to you? How can I help you? How can I bring you back? Now, that was the turning point from my salvation experience. I knew that I needed something bigger than just passing an exam. For the first time, I felt a void inside me, and that void needed to be filled. Because there's no way I can share my story without going back to talk about the turning point in my life where I found purpose and I found a clear sense of direction in my life. That experience, which seemed like a terrible one, a moment of failure, is what drove me to begin to search for the meaning of life beyond passing an exam, beyond having good grades, beyond people around me celebrating. And that took me to Bamenda, to Northwest, to Progressive. For those who don't know, Progressive PCHS Mankong is a high school in a school in Bamenda Northwest. And there I heard the gospel. Someone shared the gospel. Now, this message was a bit different. It wasn't the typical messages I'd been hearing before. It was a message about the love of God, how God loved me so much. And I was thinking about, I didn't pass and everybody was mad at me. And I heard God's love. Even though I didn't pass, yet he wanted me. He loved me. He wasn't looking on my performance. He wasn't looking on my actions. He loved me even before I passed any exam. He so loved me that he gave his son. This message revolutionized my life. It changed me completely. I discovered someone can love me without performance. I was like, yeah, this person I'm going to give myself totally. So failure helped me find myself in discovering my relationship with God. That was a big turning point for me. That moment will lead me to finding my purpose, which came to soccer, which came to football, which came to all the international stuff that you see. And the dream, which was to play at the national team, the dream, which was to play at the World Cup, that led to that place. Now, let me take it now to your question. Your question was, after that, what was the next turning point? Now, this next turning point was in 2018 into 2019. I just moved my family to UK and I was expecting to get a professional contract. I'd been playing for the last few years, every year, competitive, having a club, being in the national team. I've never known what it means. Just like, remember, I was always passing before I experienced failure. Now, this time, I was in a situation where I didn't have a club. Now, I won't go into the details, but everything played out so much so that I had to stay home for 6 months without a football club. It wasn't because my CV wasn't good. It wasn't because there were no opportunities. There were things that happened beyond control that put me in that space. And some of you are listening to me. You could find yourself in a situation beyond control and you're wondering what is going on with you. When I found myself in that space, I'd had this routine of training, going to games. I'd hardly spent 1 month, 2 months, 3 to 4 months steady at home. I had to face a different reality. I woke up to the reality that I had to be home with the kids. I woke up to the reality that there was no club for me. I woke up to the reality that if I wasn't playing football today, who am I? I woke up to the reality like, if I was not earning money from football, how can I earn money again? I woke up to a different reality and I started to ask myself lots of questions. That situation, that circumstance It's one of those challenging moments we're talking about.
Wow. Man, that was insane. That was wow, that's amazing. And thank you so much. Just before we dive deeper, a big shout out to some people watching us online. Impact Ranger, I thought this program, okay. Kudos. Okay, Ranger was expecting this tomorrow, so he was smart enough to come in today. I thought it was tomorrow. So this is okay. Wilfred Quine, kudos, Oliver and team, amazing. Wilfred is an amazing coach to me. Elvis member, yes, what about me? That's what I ask myself all the time. Thank you. Elvis is watching us from Dubai. Jam Etienne, interesting. Thank you, Etienne. And then we have Jam Etienne again saying, waking up to a new realities. That was the case of our guest, Eyong Enoh. Amazing. Thank you so much for that wonderful answer. Then Covenant Beto is like, okay, watching, I guess, from Boya. Okay, great, the Southwest region. At least we have somebody representing the Southwest. That's a good way. So as we dive deeper, Eyong, this question just brings me to a question that one of our young stars from Africa asks you, and I wanted to listen to this question, Eyong, and then respond to this.
Okay.
Hello, Sir Eyong Enoh. It is a great honor speaking with a great striker, captain, and co-founder of Ballers in God and AVFS of your caliber. Now, it is rare to see celebrities who love God the way you do. Especially in the game world, it is more scarce. So, sir, how do you manage the fear of God and fame? In fact, sir, please can you tell us about your salvation story?
Okay, okay. Eyong, that was a big blow for you there, man. Okay.
Wow.
Tell us.
Okay. So again, I think probably if that person who asked the question is watching, probably he's
Wisdom. That
Wisdom.
is Chris Wisdom from Cameroon. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely if he's watching, he should have heard me just mention a little bit my salvation story, how I got to Bamenda in Northwest Progressive. And I had this brother in the dormitory where we were living. His name was Anyam Gilga. He's a prophet now in Northwest. He has a ministry. And God used him to share the gospel with me, that message of love that completely changed my life. And remember, before then, I was already playing football. I was playing soccer. I was playing in a little foot. I'd signed for Mount Cameroon. I'd played secondary school football. I was very popular. Many people knew me. They were calling me Veron. I had a nickname. So why was I playing football then? I was playing football because people thought I was good. I was playing football because it made me popular. I was playing football because it was some pride to be a good footballer. I was playing football because probably gave me some privileges. So I was playing football for all the different reasons. When I had that experience and I came to know the Lord in Bamenda, I found purpose. And that's why one of my mentorship program I do is first thing is about purpose, because I know how powerful purpose is. That shifted my focus, my reason why I play football became something different. Previously, I was playing football for myself. Previously, I was playing to entertain people. Previously, I was playing to show off. I was playing as to be famous, to be popular, because he asked the question, how do you blend being famous and the fear of God? I tell you the answer is purpose. Your why will determine how that works. Now, being in that space, I wanted to know, why did God give me the talent of football? Many people have the talent of football. Have they ever asked why God gave it to them? And so I wanted to know, as a young man that had come to know the Lord, and you cannot know it from other people because other people didn't give the talent to you. You cannot know it from school because school didn't give it to you. Not even your parents can tell you about your purpose, because they. So I took a moment of retreat and I was quiet in my room for a couple of days. I wanted to know my why. And that moment, after a couple of days, it became very clear to me. The reason God had given me the talent of football was because he wanted me to change the narrative that people had about footballers, people had about athletes. Many people believed that footballers were arrogant, they were ignorant, they were not educated, they were womanizers. In fact, they were into some fetish and magic, all kind of stuff. Every bad kind of representation that you would think about footballers, people had about them. In fact, there were some parents who do not even want their daughters to get close to any athletes or footballer because of this bad reputation. And so my purpose, first part of my purpose was to change the narrative, is to show that it's possible to reach the highest peak in top professional football without compromising your faith. That was very clear. That was a clear purpose. Now, so you see that in going about playing that football, my purpose keeps me focused. My purpose keeps me disciplined. My purpose keeps me on track because I know why I'm playing. I'm not playing for myself. I'm playing for the kingdom. I'm playing to inspire a generation. And for that, there is a way to go about playing. So that is how I blend it. Now, many people think you have to separate football from your faith. You have to separate your job from your faith. And I say, no, your job is an opportunity to express your faith. Your job is a platform for you to be a missionary, for you to be an ambassador. I discovered very early, I wasn't a footballer who is a Christian. I'm a Christian who plays football. I discovered early that being called to ministry is not about being in a building. A ministry is out there in the world. The Great Commission is go ye into all the world. I discovered early that every true disciple has to go into their different fields, bring the light, be a salt, make the difference, impact, and carry the mandate of the kingdom into that sphere. Now that helped me differently. And that is why I don't need to separate my job, my career from my faith. My faith is my foundation. My career is the platform where I express it. That is how I balance it, and that's how it flows easily.
I love that. Thank you so much. So we're talking about bird from storms, finding purpose in the fire of transition. Eyong, you once captained and played at the highest level of football at the national team, international, What was the hardest internal transition from being a national sports icon to stepping into a new life chapter?
Wow, that's a that's a very interesting question because that experience I was sharing, which I had in UK when I was in London without a club, my transition started. So what happens is that I say this: transition is happening all the time. Change is going on all the time, but very few people are making the transition with change. Now, when it comes to change, nobody has control over. When it comes to transition, we all have something to do about it. Now, you cannot change the weather. You cannot change the calendar. You can't even stop the month from flow. You can't even stop time. That you don't have control over. What you do have is every decision. When you wake up, what you say, what you eat, what you do. These are your charges. Now, a young woman who is a girl who wants to become a lady or become a wife or become a mother, change is going to happen. But is she making the transition? So I say this: change is external, transition is internal. So you have some people who are already 45 years old, but they have not made no transition from a boy to a man. So life has changed, their physiognomy has changed, but mentally, emotionally, they are still boys. So transition is moving from one phase and one stage internally in your mental, your emotional, your intellectual, and also your capacity to be able to think beyond that which you're supposed to do. So many people are stuck in the past when life has moved forward. So for me, I was in a phase where now all I knew was playing football, training. When that stopped, what do I do next? And I can tell you, Oliver, there are many people, when the transition season hit, they keep going back to think that life will go back to as it was. Imagine me thinking, oh, Enoh, you were playing in the national team. You need to go back to play there. You need to go back to Ajax. You need to go back. It's gone. That season has passed. Oh, imagine this, Oliver. Imagine that was just chapter 1 of my life. And my life has about 10 chapters. And I choose to focus on chapter 1, which is just the introduction of the bigger version of who I am. And because transition is coming, I think there's a problem.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Transition is announcing, it's a season that announcing a better you.
Wow.
Transition is a moment that tells you there is more to your life than what you've experienced. Transition is a season that comes to challenge you for growth. Transition is a season that comes to push you out of your comfort and say, hey, there is something bigger and more God has put in you. He has to push out that better you out of you. Now, the Eyong you see today, who is a speaker, who is a coach, who is an author, it's because of transition. I could have been stuck in all the memories of I used to play. I used to play. I used to play. Now, that's why I don't want nobody to refer to me as former. Please don't refer to me as former. I don't live in the past. I live in the present forward.
Yes.
So these were the big questions in the place of transition, Oliver, you're asking. How did I do that? I started asking myself the question. If someone sees me today, do I want them to refer to me as former vice captain? That means I have no relevance today.
Yeah.
There is something I should be doing today that has significance, that is bringing value, and that is impacting. That means I need to translate everything I've experienced in the past through football, make it relevant today, that can be added value to the generation I'm interacting with. For everyone that is here listening to this podcast, you may have hit a transition and it has pushed you into depression because you never understood. You thought transition came to kill you. Transition came to set you up for the next chapter of your life. It is through transition that I got inspired to write this book. And Oliver, who is here, can tell you what he's doing right now. It took a transition to push him to this place to be doing what he's doing.
I concur.
And so for those who have never understood the power and the purpose of transition, I came to tell you, every time you hit a rock in your life, it's announcing to you a transition. Every time you're going through a crisis, it's telling you transition is on the way. Every time you face this whole stuff that you don't know how to deal with it, you feel confused, you're wondering about your identity, you don't know where to get the answer, transition is knocking on your door. It's saying something bigger is here for you, but I need to build you up so that you can walk into that new season.
Thank you. I feel like bring it up. See, last evening I was talking with a dear friend of mine, and this is like my big, like this guy is a great guy. We worked together in an organization before, and he told me that they just got up and fired him. No signal. And he got he's a very smart, brilliant guy, and he just found himself without a job for 6 months. And he used to make almost $1 million, per month. And he was not having a job for 6 months, and he was like, this cannot be my life. So you just spoke to him. Now, I think you just spoke to him because he got at a point where his relationship was in pain and his career was jeopardized, and he was like, where do I start from? And he just telling me that he is in a new chapter and he wants to start everything from afresh. Everything. And so you just talk to him, you spoke to him, relate, and what any tip do you have to add to him? I know he's watching right now. Maybe he watched after. Do you have any other thing that you want to talk to people, say to people in addition to the amazing things you said? Those who have been fired from their jobs, those who have lost their jobs, those who are going through battling with relationships, struggling in pain, and people look at them and they smile, but right inside they are dying because of that transition.
True. Okay. These are a few tips I want to share with you. Number one, if you are in a phase of transition, many people, one of the things that hit them so hard is because when they hit a transition, they think they are all by themselves. They think they are the only people to ever experience that in life. I want to tell you, if you're hitting a transition, you're not the first. Many have had it before. If you're hitting a transition, number one, it's not strange. A few things people think is that, oh, my life is dead. It's gone. Every plan, all my hope, I didn't see this coming. I wasn't prepared for this, right? Listen, many people are not prepared for transition. So, but there are tools you can prepare, you can build capacity, and you can sense. In my training, I teach people how to anticipate, sense, visualize, and then build yourself to be able to hit transition. But most of us, we don't have that capacity yet, especially when you have that personality where you like to have a security in your life, a secure job, and something comes and push you out of the way, you get out of your comfort. Number one, you're not alone. That's one. Number two, look for someone who has gone through a transition and talk to them. You need mentorship, someone to be able to give you perspective in your transition. Because sometimes the thing that is pulling you down in your transition is that you're having the wrong perspective. If someone shifts your perspective, woo, suddenly you start to see opportunities where you were seeing no opportunities before. Just one shift. Number three, I want to say this. If something does not end, something new cannot start. So what most people struggle, and I want to tell you, is that we struggle to close that chapter. That chapter was so good. It was so nice. We want to stay there, but something is better in front. And I tell you, there has to be an end. And let me give it this way. So most people, because this process is the same process people deal with when they are going through a divorce, when they lose a loved one, they'll all go, it's the same process of life. Number one is most people are in denial. So you're refusing that this is happening. How can this be happening? Now, it all depends on you, how long you want to stay in denial. If you recognize this is a transition and you have the level of what I call awareness makes you like, okay, I see what's going on. This is happening right here. Okay. I know Coach Oliver, Coach Enoh told me, when I see these signs, this is it. This is what is going on. So number one, like I said, you have to go over denial. Don't stay too long in denial. Because denial will keep you stuck. You will keep trying to go in the past when the past is already gone. You have to maximize today. When you deal with denial, you have to get into acceptance. Accepting that, listen, I don't have a job. Because sometimes people have to struggle about that. No, I don't have a job. I don't have this. But what I have, I've got a mind. I've got ideas. I've got intelligence. I've got hope. I've got faith. So many times people keep thinking about what they are not having. They stop thinking about what they have right now. So I want you to shift from I don't have this job to what do I have? You still have your dream. You still have your mind. You still have your friends. You still have your mentors. You have to start redesign. You have the capacity. The mind is the most powerful asset you have. You have to start redesigning the next future that you want. The next thing, Oliver, is that, many of us, when we work hard and we achieve success, like myself, I'd worked in football for years, training and moving from one country to another before I had the breakthrough in the national team. So I didn't happen there overnight. I didn't get there overnight. Now, when you have built that level of ability to succeed, sometimes you could think that in the next transition, things are just going to happen smoothly in 1 day, in 2 days, in 3 days, because now you think I'm right here. No, the process is going to repeat. And so that's what I'll share with someone. Don't think you will just transition, things will change. You have to go through the same process of building again. It's starting all over. But this time, you have the experience of the past. You have the wisdom of the past. You have the relationships of the past. You have the skills of the past. You're building on another layer level. And so that patience is needed. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process of transition. Be patient with the next level of growth, because that destiny you need to give birth. Where you are, you cannot carry it. Where you are, you cannot sustain it. You need to build new capacity, new tendency, new wisdom, new relationships, new skills, so that you can be able to deliver something that the world will never forget you as long as you were alive. And so this is for you to know that don't be scared to start all over. But you keep thinking you have to go back. No, you are not starting like you started in the past. You started on a foundation of a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. Be excited to start again. Be
Wow.
excited to start again. I'll leave it at there because I don't want to give all the tips of my mentorship.
Yeah, so they'll get back to you. And of course, was there or ever a point where you identified where you actually your identity felt lost after the stadium lights went off? How did you start rebuilding purpose beyond football? And I think you just cleared that, like in fact you just cleared that already. So do you have anything to add to that? How did you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, definitely. So even though I had that very powerful, clear purpose definition for my life, right? When that thing was achieved, because I'd already played national team, I'd played World Cup. So people were inspired. That has already happened.
Yeah.
What was the next thing? So this was a big discovery for me. Then I discovered that when it comes to purpose, purpose is like an onion. When you get an onion, it's like this. And the first encounter you have is just with the first layer of that onion. You need to peel the first layer out to get to the next layer. And so as far as my life was concerned, playing the national team and becoming a top footballer was one layer of my purpose. So many people have hit one layer. They did not seek to know what's the next layer, so they get stuck. And that's why you keep referring to them former glory, former glory, former glory. And so that's what I talk about. When you are on the journey of purpose, you need to have transition period will help you do what I call redefining purpose. Redefining purpose. My first layer of purpose was to play professional soccer, play football, become a captain of the national team, and inspire people at that level. My second layer of purpose is after that, I become a mentor. I become a coach. I become a speaker. I become an author. I become a businessman, someone who is running businesses. And that's the second layer. But that also needs me to build capacity, to train myself, to get education, to be able to equip myself to be able to run that. And so the first time that purpose was cleared, that gap between then and me redefining purpose, if you don't redefine purpose, you're going to struggle with identity. Because now everybody knew me as a footballer. Now I'm not playing. So who am I? Yes, I know I'm a child of God. But in terms of relevance in the society, impact in the community, who am I? I'm not playing football anymore. How can I add value? And so there's something I should be doing that is purposeful, that makes meaning and add values to others. And so as I journeyed between that and that time that I discovered it, my identity was searching. I was like, oh, who am I, Lord? What am I here to do? How do people see me aside football? How do my kids see me? How does my wife see me? How does other men see me? Because I don't want them to keep referring to me as he used to be a football legend. He used to be a football legend. Then I took a moment and I turned it into a monument. I've become a monument. So people just admire and talk about the history. And now as a person, a monument doesn't have life. A monument is on the shelf. It's not moving. It has no... I'm a human being moving, creating impact, shifting culture, transforming minds. I have to be on the go.
Man.
Yes, sir. So identity is important, but you need to redefine purpose to key into a new level of your identity. So for me, that was it. That period, I was in like, who am I? What am I doing? And then now the books started coming. One of the things about my identity, I have to start writing books as an author. What's the next thing? I need to start speaking. So I'm finding identity in expressing the next level of capacity and purpose through these different avenues. Then that is it. So that's what I wanted to add on identity.
Eyong, you are an amazing speaker. You are incredible. Wow, boy, I'm like, you're nailing it, bro. So let's see what the people are saying, because the comment sections are flooded. I want to do justice to read kind of that's direct feedback. So our Caleb, oh my God, like, man, this is too much for me to read. But Wilfred Money is like transitioning. Our Caleb is like learning new things from the great Eyong. Rene Kechu Echo, great Kache Echo says, I will definitely listen to this letter when I am available. He is reservoir of knowledge and wisdom. Enoh Eyong. Oh my God. Redefining purpose. Prosper is like adding value after your identity, your purpose. Our Caleb is like, what role did Bernadette Eyong play in helping her man really achieve all this? The place of your partner in your self-actualization. Okay, that's the question you will look at that. And then Victor J. Momo is like, okay, great man. Prosper is awesome, coach, awesome. So Bruce Ngu says, a moment to move into a monument. So just lots of comments. We'll be coming back to the comments again shortly. And just before we dive into, I want to make this statement before we dive deeper. Eyong is not the former captain of the Indomitable Lions. He's not a former player. He is an entrepreneur. He's an author. In fact, he's invited United States this week to train coach in a football club. Isn't that amazing? Okay, please, you enjoy this beautiful transition. This podcast episode is sponsored by Talks, and we just want to enjoy this 53 seconds ad, and then we'll be right back. Okay, enjoy it. You have lived through powerful moments. You have overcome and you have grown. Now it's time to tell your story and get booked for it. At Talks, we are launching a powerful platform called Tell Us Your Story. And it's moment for you to shine. We will work with you one-on-one and coach you to be able to share your story with the world. And we will take your story, edit it, and list it in our platform, Talks. Let the world hear what you've been through and why it matters now more than ever. Spots are limited. If you're ready to turn your story into your stage, now is the time. Thank you so much for enjoying that beautiful sports advert from Talks. Eyong Enoh, the legendary man. People often fear transition, but you embrace it. How do you now define purpose?
Purpose is the reason for which I'm here. And the reason for which I'm here, it took me the last 3 years to define my life purpose in a very simple statement. And this is how I put it. My life is to inspire others to be a better version of themselves. Everything I do, if it doesn't align to that, inspiring others to be a better version of themselves, then I'm not living for the reason for which I'm here. Whether it's through my books, it's through relationship, it's through business, it's through just engaging with people, being a dad, being a husband, whatever I do is to inspire others to be a better version of themselves. That's the reason for which I'm here.
I love that. So one of the guests watching live asked a very brilliant question. How is Bernadette Enoh, helping you to do all the amazing things you've done, right? From the national team, right now you're traveling around the world and you're currently in the United States, coaching and training footballers, the next generation of footballers. So how is the role of your wife, Bernadette, in all of the accomplishment, in all of the impact you're creating around the world?
Well, that's a very important and amazing question. And for some reasons, my wife, she likes to be quiet in the background. So most of the time, probably some people will not hear me mention or talk a lot because she prefers that. She's a very quiet, reserved person, but she's a powerhouse. She's a great manager. She's an intelligent woman. She's a business strategist. The things she has in her heart and the things she's already doing in her own corner, in her own right, they are amazing. She inspires me a lot. She inspires the family. And one of the things that for the person who is asking the question is that my wife and I, we started from the bottom. We started from nothing. So she knows my story. She knows where I'm coming from. I know where I'm coming from. And she helped me to have some level of stability, to have some level of focus. She helped me to be able to have a safe environment, because the things I do, if she doesn't give me that permission, as it were, if she doesn't give me that support, I will not be able to do the things that I'm doing. So if you're asking what is the role, she's supportive. She keeps the home stable when I'm not around. She's very engaging as far as organizing, setting up things. She plays a lot of massive role as far as my life and the life of the family and the children are concerned. And now we like to keep things pretty quiet, behind the scene, pretty private, especially for our children, because we want them to develop as just other basic children and grow and learn the lessons of life as every other one should do, and so that they can have rebalance of life without being out there. So, but on the summary, my wife, she's just an amazing person who has been very supportive, giving all the necessary background support that any man like me would need to be able to do the things I do.
Brilliant. So thank you so much. What role did faith, pain, and unexpected encounters play in awakening your mission to inspire others?
Well, faith again is the foundation for all the things I do. My faith is really paramount to me. And without my faith, I would not be doing the things I'm doing. Without my faith, I would have never had the strength, probably the discipline level, to be able to deal with some of the distractions that has to do with pursuing your purpose, living your dream, and becoming a top professional athlete. My faith helped me to be disciplined. My faith helped me to stay away from distraction. Again, like I said, there's a lot of distraction on a certain level, and another thing is getting healthy, to live a healthy life. A healthy life is beyond just being competitive. It's what you eat, how you eat, when you go out. My faith has helped me to build the right relationship, because sometimes you have people who are very top performant, but they get involved in the wrong relationships.
Yeah.
So faith helps me, guides me on picking who is my friend, who is not my friend. And so when it comes to pain, you asked the other question about pain.
Yeah.
Pain, I think, depending on the perspective of pain, right? When some other people look at pain, they see like something that makes them feel bad. I see pain as the process to produce. There's nothing that produces without pain. Now, it can be on context level. For one person, running for an hour and sweating is painful to them.
Yeah.
For another person, they need to run for 3 hours before they start feeling pain. So I can say pain is based on your capacity, based on your resilience, based on your level of gifting, based on your mindset, and based on the things that you're exposed to. Personally, anything that shows pain gives me a signal that there's gain. Because pain definitely is an introspect for sacrifice. Now, when I was years ago in Cameroon, I choose to wake up early in the morning to go and run about 5, about 6. That means I have to wake up, I have to sacrifice that early sleep in the morning, which everybody likes it,
Yeah.
That sleep is a nice sleep. So what I want to say is that sometimes pain is not only about crying, it's also the decision you make for temporary pleasure so that you can have long-lasting fulfillment. That could also be painful. Because a lot of people are enjoying the sleep. You can't enjoy it. But it's a decision you make. So I will come back after training. Other people are going out. They're going to party. They're going to do this. As a young man, wouldn't I like to party? Of course.
Of course.
But not making that decision is painful. But I know that for this. Many times when people talk about pain, the thing that they miss out is that they don't look at the reward of pain. If you would look at the reward to pain compared to the pain itself, the reward is always greater.
Yeah.
As a man of faith, there's this Bible verse which says that the suffering of this present day, which any man is going through, is not compared to the glory that is
the latter days.
That means that in every pain you go through, most at times the gain is always massive. I've never seen a student who goes through the pain of studying extra 3 hours than other student who doesn't get the gain of better grades. I've never seen a businessman who goes through the pain of studying his market, researching, staying all night to put his business together, and doesn't get the gain of business productivity. I've never seen a speaker who spend more hours reading, writing, listening to other speakers, goes through the pain and don't experience the gain. And when you start to show up with the gain, many people think that happens overnight. No, there was a pain. There was a cost. So those who don't like pain should not talk about gain. And those who want gain should be ready for pain, because pain is profitable for gain.
I love that. Thank you so much. And before we even continue with this conversation, I want to make this confession. You actually inspired me a lot. Growing up in Cameroon as a young man, I had dreams, I had aspirations. I desired to become a global speaker. And right in those early days in 2010, I used to see you play at the national team, 2014. You're one of my favorite players. I love working. And besides that, you are representing the English-speaking part of the country so well. And not only that, but the people of faith, that was such a blessing to have you, represent that culture, that people, that community of people that were looking up to you, and you did your job diligently. And it's also an opportunity and a privilege for me to be having this conversation with you in the benefit of brothers and sisters around the world. And you are pouring yourself into us and making us to become better versions. I want to seize this moment and say thank you for not giving up, and thank you for not robbing the world of your better Eyong Takang.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So, what message do you have for athletes, professionals, or youth they kind of stuck in the what now phase? Those afraid to pivot when their first dream ends.
So we grew up in a culture where we don't know so much about mentorship. Now, one of the reasons I wrote the book was because of that. Number two, I also created my company 4P Ballers so that I can give that level of mentorship, assistance, and support and direction. And I saw anyone who is stuck somewhere is because you don't know someone who has already unstuck themselves from a situation before. Anyone who is stuck somewhere is because you don't know someone who had already unstuck themselves from a similar situation before. The word of God says there's nothing new under the sun. So today, why can most of you call on Oliver? Can you coach me on how to speak? Well, it took Oliver years and years of work of exposure, work of training to be able to guide you. And because you have a good mentor like Oliver, you can become better. You can be a guaranteed better speaker than you were before you met him. And so anyone who is in a stuck situation, well, you have mentors here. You have Oliver. What are you stuck with? The first thing is, what are you stuck with? Are you stuck because of reading? Are you stuck because of a job? Are you stuck because of football? Are you stuck because of a relationship? The next step for you to take is to look for a mentor that can help you go through that unstuck phase. Let me say this. Finding the right mentor, because sometimes people look for mentors because they confuse people they admire for mentors. Not everyone you admire is a mentor. You can have a connection with them. They can say one or two things that inspire you. But a mentor should be someone who is in line with your dream, your goal, your purpose, and your aspiration. Well, tell me this. I wouldn't see someone who wants to become very good in business and then he's going to a school teacher to teach them about business. Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't see someone who wants to become the greatest businessman out there and you're going to a pastor who can only teach you how to preach, to teach you about business. But you have to look for a man that has a proven track record as far as that field is concerned. He has gone through the different transitions. He said a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. For you to get a mentor, you need a leader who has already gone ahead, knows the way, has gone the way, and now can show you the way. So don't get mentorship blindly. So for the person who is stuck, I'll tell you, probably you're stuck because you have not thought about mentorship, or probably you have not found the right mentor. Some of the people you're talking to, they don't have what it takes to unstuck you. You need to find the people who have what it takes through their experience. And that is something I would give. So get to Oliver through his platform. Is engaging with speakers with different background and qualification and strengths. And I think you, Oliver, can help you connect with people where can be specific to help you unstuck your situation.
And I'll connect many of them back to you to coach them, because you're one of the best I've come across ever. So we have people listening from Singapore, United States, Minnesota, Chicago, Washington, Germany, United Kingdom, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Sierra Leone, all around the world. Now, there is a gentleman in Nigeria, Ondo State, who is a footballer. And when he heard that you were going to be the guest, he sent us a question for you. And I have this question for you live. So this gentleman is coming from the Ondo State in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And here is the question he has for you. Eyong Enoh.
Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Ogalon Matthias, a professional player at Real Good Soccer Academy. My question is, do you love what you are doing? Because to go higher in this stage, you have to love what you are doing. You have to love waking up every day, putting in the work, putting in the training, showing up consistently for matches. So the key thing is you have to love what you are doing. Do you love what you are doing? Thank you.
So the question is, do you know what you're doing? Of course, I know you love what you did. That's why you did it from your football career. Now you're doing coaching and preparing the next footballers, next generation.
Yeah.
So I hope you got the question.
Okay, if I get the question right, it's asking, do I love what I'm doing for me to keep going about and doing it and all of that?
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. All right. So I wanted this question is a very important question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I saying so? Because most people who use the statement, do you love what you are doing? The major thing behind their mind is about feelings.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about feeling. And the love they are describing is, do you feel good about what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as the biggest and the most successful people who have achieved anything, none of them will tell you, I feel good all the time about what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Waking up 3 a.m., we just talked about the pain. It's not always a feel good.
Yeah.
Yes, Oliver, you have their books you have to write, their interviews. Sometimes you feel like just chilling. Sometimes you feel like just relaxing. Sometimes you feel like, but again, I prefer to say this. You don't have to love what you're doing. You can start by loving it, but loving is not enough.
Yeah.
That feeling that kicked you off is not going to keep you on. Purpose is what can keep you on. Every time you want to get stuck on your feeling, I don't feel like going, I don't feel like running, go back to your why. Why did you start? What is the reason you kicked off for this stuff? And for me, every time I thought about my why, Enoh, Eyong, there is a generation of people that if you stop now, they're going to miss out on your story. They're going to miss out on being inspired. Do you know one young man in one village that will start dreaming on building a school because they saw you, building an academy, building an airport, transitioning business? Their life can shift because of one story. And that is why I say your why is more powerful than any feeling, because your why is what keeps you going. If you lose momentum, get back to your why. Redefine it, and you will wake up back fire, because that's what keeps you alive. That's what keeps you going on. It's the fuel that determines the drive that you carry. Anyone feeling weary because of feeling, you have not thought about your why. Redefine your why. Put it back in front of you. There's a lot of distraction. You'll be amazed at the energy that you will wake up with, because you have just one life to live, my brother. Don't rob the world of it.
Wow. Amazing. So let's hear what our listeners around the world are saying. Wow. Dixon Nze says, pain has a reward. It is always inspiring. He says pain has a reward. It's always inspiring listening to you, Coach Enoh. Amazing. Then Lenjo Impact says, no pain, no gain. Thank you, Coach Eyong and Oliver. Prosper Senior says, pain was not built in one day. It rewards will be awesome. I love that. Lenjo says again, not everyone you admire is your mentor. I love that. So, okay, Lenjo Impact is asking recommendations for mentors. Okay, Eyong is here, so you had better get to him after. Then, Jong Noel is like greetings to you, sirs. And then, we have think of right mentorship and right coaches for you. Okay, that was from Prosper. And so, okay, we have Lenjo is like your why is powerful than your feelings. I love that. Young Noel is like your why is more powerful than your any feelings. Okay. Then Prosper is like passion and purpose keep you on the way. Work on your why rather than feelings. Oh my God, that's so amazing. So diving deeper, and it's always good to get this feedback from those who are watching to see if we're actually on the right track. Let's talk about resilience. Eyong, what habits, mindset, or routines help you to stay grounded in chaos?
Wow. Resilience. So one of my courses that I do in my mentorship program, I call it the tiger mentality.
Oh, wow.
So tiger mentality, how did it come about? As a young man, I wasn't always bold about my talent. I wasn't always fierce. I was scared. Put it that way. I was shy. So years ago in Tico, I would go out and to play with the other kids. And when they kicked me or tackled me, I would go out of the field. I would just use the word chicken out. And so I had this mentor, one of my first mentors in football, who called me down and he said something to me. He said, do you want to be a hunter or you want to be hunted? And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, because you go there, everybody's hunting on you. They kick you, you cry, you go out. He said, but if you are a hunter, you're the one chasing.
Okay.
You set the pace. So he already, through mentorship, without even knowing, he switched something in my mind. And that's why in my mentorship program, I call it Awaken the Tiger Within You. So I say everybody has a tiger in them because the tiger for me symbolizes resilience.
Yep.
And how do you build that resilience? Number one is every challenge becomes an opportunity for you to grow your muscle. That's the perspective is different. While other people see challenges as an obstacle, as a hindrance, the tiger sees it as an opportunity. Number two, the tiger is one of the most adaptable cat. It adapts. It can swim in water. It can climb a tree. It can operate in any territory. So adaptability becomes one of the most key fundamental attributes of resilience. Another thing about resilience is that many people want resilience, but they don't want to go through challenges. It's like saying, I want to be muscle, but I don't want to go to the gym. You can't build muscle without going to the gym or without doing exercises that build your muscle. For your muscles to stretch, pressure need to be applied to it. Strain and stress need to be applied to it. And the same thing with life. For you to build resilience, it is built through the things you have overcome and things you have handled. No challenges overcome, no resilience built. And so the tiger mentality means every time a situation comes that opposes you, you use it as an opportunity to build better. For example, as an athlete, I have players I talk to, they get injured. Do you know that some players, an injury they had completely stopped them from ever playing professional football anymore? Just like somebody here, you had a relationship disappointment. It stopped you from believing in a relationship anymore. So I can use football. I can use real life. Someone started a business. It failed. And they became discouraged. They're never getting into business anymore. Someone started as a speaker. The first time they tried, it wasn't impressive. The feedback was bad. And they said, I don't want to be a speaker anymore. Resilience is needed by everyone in every field.
Yeah.
Resilience is about reevaluating. Okay, I had an injury. What should I do? Resilience always think forward. It thinks present forward. It doesn't think present backward. I'll say that again. Resilience thinks present forward. It doesn't think present backward. Stress and trauma and disappointment thinks present backward. What does that mean? It means the emotions you felt when you had the injury, the emotions you felt when you felt disappointed or not speaking well, the emotions you felt when you had that bad relationship, you don't let it go. You keep living the present and traveling back to that emotions. Psychologists say the emotions that happen in the past that you experience, every time you think about them, it is as though they just happen now. They are as fresh as when it happened. And people keep revisiting it back, and it's as though they never left the past. Do you know you could have moved, but you are still in that old relationship? Do you know you could have moved, but the injury is still alive in you? That bad speaking experience is still alive in you. You never let it go. Resilience is what helps you to take that, say, okay, I learned my lesson. I got the injury. I got the bad relationship. What did I learn from it? What can I do different? And what do I want to do the next? So I had the injury. There's a journey. I have to get back to the gym. I have to work that hamstring. I have to work that ankle. I need to build new muscle. I need to build new capacity. You only build resilience through that process. And so, Oliver, I would share this to you. There are many of us, we run away from rehabilitation of those injuries, and that's why we don't have resilience today. And we have built a cycle. Every time something becomes tough, we run away from it. Every time something becomes challenging, we let it, we say, this is not for us. But there were opportunities for us to build resilience. And I think I'm speaking to someone now. There are some things you've left, and I'm telling you, you need to go back to them. Go back, because that resilience experience you left is what you needed for your present greatness today. And that is what I wanted to talk about, resilience. I will leave you for now.
Man, you nail it. This is beyond a podcast and a masterclass even. So let's know, who are you now, Eyong, and what keeps you up at night when you think about legacy?
So a couple of years ago, when I was redefining my purpose, and I limited it to becoming, inspiring others to become a better version of themselves, I knew that for me to inspire others, there should be something that I'm doing that get people inspired. People don't just get inspired. So what are the things that I needed to do? I was very inspired listening to Dr. Madison Gafferson some years ago in one of our leadership summit, and he shared his 5 legacy statements. And that was so powerful. And so I started to ask myself, do I have a legacy statement? Do I have a legacy statement that defines the kind of person that I am? Then I said, okay, I'm going to work on that. So I began to sit down and I came up with 5 legacy statements. Number 1, I wanted to be a man that is known like a man who lived for God and lived the kingdom life. I wanted to be known as a man that when people see me, they say, this guy loves Jesus. He loves God and he's living for the kingdom. That has to do with my intimate relationship with God. Number 2, I wanted to be a man who loved his wife like Christ loved the church and gave herself for her. I wanted to be a Christ-like husband. This is 2nd. Number 3, I want to be a father that helped his children live and fulfill their destiny and become 10 times successful than myself. Why? Because the latter has to be greater than the former. Number 4, I wanted to be a coach, a mentor that inspire others to become a better version of themselves. That is 4P Baller, where I train, I coach young professionals, footballers to become better, to write the book, tell their story, rise up from the ashes, build resilience, achieve that dream, that life is not over. Don't rob the world of a better version of yourself. I wanted finally to be a man that is called with an apostolic mandate to speak revival to the church and to the world and to prepare many for the coming of the Lord Jesus. These 5 things are my legacy statements. Anything that has nothing to do with these 5, I'm not related to it. I'm not connected to it. They are not connected to me. Where our paths don't cross. If you ever think of calling me and these 5 things, you're not going to talk about them. Now you can notice why I'm on this podcast is because the 4th one, 4P Baller, to inspire, to encourage, to build. This aligns with my legacy statement.
Wow.
These 5 things are the things I live for and I'll die for.
Man, that's amazing. I love that. And I think many of us are inspired to write a legacy statement. If you are not writing your legacy statement, contact Coach, Eyong, mentor Eyong, so he can. And I want to seize this opportunity to say a high shout to our mentor, Professor Madison Gavin, for being a great father, a great leader that inspires not only us, but generations upon generations. Thank you for the great job you're doing, Dr. Madison Gavin. So it's now, from world-class footballer to transformational speaker. Wow. What storms are you preparing others to conquer?
Of course, one of the storms I'm preparing others to conquer is transition, like we spoke about. And it dawned on me that transitioning is happening every moment, every day, in different places at different times, but it's just that most people are not aware of. There are people that are literally relocating from one area to another. They're doing the transition. There are those that are moving from one career to another. There are those who are living from a girl to becoming a mother. A young man is moving from a young boy to becoming a husband. Someone is moving from becoming a university student to becoming a corporate employee. Many people are going through different levels of transition, but because they are not aware of it, they are not building the capacity to grow. I usually say this: don't go through life, grow through life. Don't go through life, grow through life. Many people are going through life. So you keep hearing them looking at life like life is so hard on me. Life is so, I don't know when things are going to change. I don't know how my life is going to become. I don't know this one, because you are going through life. A man who is growing through life is intentional about everything that is happening around him. How is this helping me grow? How is this helping me become better? How is this pushing me towards my achieved, fulfilled purpose and goal? This is the man that is growing through life, not just going through life. And so if there was one of the things that people building resilience over would be building resilience for transition. Building resilience because transition applies to everything: relationships, jobs, businesses. It applies to everything. If we master the art of transition, we will navigate through life, getting the best out of it, and celebrating every. I like using this Bible verse which says, "Count it all joy when you go through diverse tests, because it is working for you." So that you should be perfect, lacking nothing, missing nothing. And I say transition is for growth. And so everything I'm doing now is a message that can touch everybody in their different place, relationship, and telling them, listen, whatever you're dealing with, that transition, you can grow in it and you can bring beauty out of it. And the next version of you out of that transition is what the world is waiting for.
I love that. And I think it was Abraham Lincoln who says, in every bad experience that happened to you, there's always an equal opposite good that has happened. So you just need to see well.
Yes.
And this is so amazing that you're talking to the right people, to young people who are hungry, whom many of them are almost hopeless and almost faithless, but they have dreams and potentials and capabilities and abilities in them to shape the world, to make the world a better place. And I think the message is just coming at the right time. And if I was you, the young person listening to me, to us right now, to Enoh, the young woman listening right now, I will not only listen with my phone watching, I will get a notebook. Because this is beyond a podcast, it's a master class. It's a master class. So you have to come to the master session with a notebook because you're downloading from the masters. And we're talking about Eyong Takang Enoh, somebody who is rooted in wisdom and knowledge and experiences, and he is ready to give to you right now. So make the best out of the moment. Get your books and be just not just listen, but make sure you take notes, because after this you have to write an exam probably somewhere. Not here, by the way. So, sir, so let's talk about disruption, legacy, and lightning round. What is one myth about purpose or success you want to destroy forever?
Wow. One of the myths which I already touched on was that thinking that purpose is linear. And And now I'm discovering myself, because when I started, I thought purpose was linear. It was just one layer.
Yeah.
As I grew, I discovered that purpose is in layers. One layer to another. So that's one myth I want to disrupt. Someone say, oh, God has called me to be an evangelist, or I have to be a doctor. Now the next question is, what kind of doctor? In which environment? What is your target? So think about it. I have a calling of an evangelist.
I love that.
In my local assembly, I was doing crusades. Now God has put the talent of football in me. And because of purpose discovery, I realized that my evangelistic message was not going to be like the typical one. It has to break the status quo. It has to shift the paradigm. I have to take it to a different model. Now, through football, through soccer, in a stadium, in one game, opening up my t-shirt, I can reach over 1 million people. Something that if I kept doing crusade in a local village, I would have not been able to reach all those people in one moment. The gift of a man makes a way for him and brings him before kings and brings him before different platforms. So one myth disruption is that purpose is not linear. Purpose is in layers. The second myth disruption is that your purpose is constant, but you need to grow to be able to fulfill the next layer of your purpose. So many people say, God has called me to do this. I know I have to do this. And you think that level of you, that state of you can do that? No. Sorry. There's a training. There is a skill. There is a process. There is a growth you need to do to be able to get to that place where you can fulfill that next level of purpose. So your purpose is known, but it's waiting for the next version of you to fulfill it.
Man, that's deep.
The next myth I want to blow out is that success is standard. That means some people are the ones that set the standard for success. I want to say this, that success is based on purpose. It's not based on no standard. That means your success is relative to how you're fulfilling your purpose. If you are not you can have all the money in the world, you can have all the businesses. If all of that is not linear to your purpose, to your assignment, you are not working in success. Look at how Earl Nightingale defined success. He says it is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It is the progressive realization. Number one, progressive. Number two, realization. Number three, of a worthy ideal. That ideal is your purpose. Is that reason for which you are here, not sleeping, not eating, because there is an ideal bigger than you, more powerful than you, that is changing the world. But it's progressive. It's not static. And no one size fits it all. In fact, the only person that knows if they are succeeding or not is you.
Yeah.
Definitely, Oliver. You could have decided to be a good salesman selling sugar water, and you would do great.
Yeah.
When you should have been in a place training the next great global speakers that will shift the world. And many would have celebrated you as a mighty sugar water seller.
Yeah.
To their own right, but only you in yourself would have known.
Yeah.
That success is in seeing others sharing their story, giving them a platform, training them on how their voice is relevant, how they can shift and bring a difference in their own little corner, because their story deserves to be heard in different places of the world. Then you are. The myth of thinking that success is standard and some other people define it. No, you know the reason why you are here. You can feel it in your soul if you're living for that reason or not. If you sense that level of form, why do you think some people have all the money but they commit suicide? Why do you think they're having all the fame but they're committing suicide? Why do you think for Every reason. They win all the awards, but yet they feel empty. They need to drink themselves to stupor. Why? Because they don't feel successful. They don't feel fulfilled.
Man.
And so I said, there is no standard. You are the one that sets it up.
Wow. To you watching right now, you have to ask yourself this question. Like Enoch says, what is success to you? And you know what is in your heart. Like myself, Eyong, I used to watch you, do amazing things. So I remember this day I was working in an organization where I was employed, and I kept seeing for instance, I saw Dr. Jamie Joybert in 2018. He was speaking Yaoundé, Nigeria, Ghana, and that was kind of a young man that got to me in 2015 to seek advice on the speaking I was doing. And when I saw him disrupting and changing the narrative, I started crying. I was crying, and I told myself that where I am now is not actually, I'm not doing what I'm going to be doing. I'm like, I was crying because my colleagues were wondering why was I sitting in the chair and crying while they're giving me work to do on my computer. I was like,
Yeah.
I know I don't belong here. I know. And when I tabled my resignation, my supervisor was like, Oliver, you cannot resign. There's work for you to be done here. I told them that, well, I will have to go. I don't care whether I'll get the job after resigning or not. But this is not the time for me to be here in this organization. So but when I tabled my resignation letter, Eyong, you wouldn't believe what happened. One of my coaches who loved me so much in the organization called me and locked me in his office, spoke with me for almost 1 hour, counseling me, asking me, you have a wife, you have children, right? You have bills. How thought about that? Truth be told, I did not think about that, Eyong. I was like, I have to resign. I was crazy. But guess what? At the end of the day, I resigned. I fired myself. And when I resigned, the next thing I did, I went to South Africa for further studies, came back, and today I'm in the United States, speaking around the world and disrupting systems in the speaking industry. And so a young person listening right now might be somewhere, Kate, seeing what we're doing and crying that I love doing what Oliver is doing. I love doing what Eyong is doing. And I don't know what is happening in my life. This is a call for consent. This is a call to action. Do something crazy. And the good thing is that when you are in your purpose, like Eyong will say, that decision you're taking and everybody saying is crazy, God got your back on board.
Yeah.
You have a backup. And that's the good news for you. So if you know that God is your backup, you can go to any extent. And that's why I recently started taking my pilot license, because I know God got my backup and I can go to any extent. And so thank you, Eyong, for reiterating and reminding our young people watching right now that if you can believe it, you can dream it.
Yes.
Just dare it, because the person who is putting that passion, that drive in you, got your backup. Just listen to that whisper and take action, because the world rewards action takers and not planners, and not dreamers, and not believers. You need to take action. I know this is getting so emotional and exciting, sir. So, see, if your story were a headline on a billboard in Yaoundé, what will it be? Or what will it say? Let's assume that we're in Yaoundé right now, in the capital of Cameroon. We have the biggest billboard somewhere in Bastos or in Soundtrue. And that is Eyong, Takang, Enoh. And your story is to be there on that billboard. What will it say?
Wow. Well, first of all, that story has to start with my faith. A man of faith who loved God, a man of faith who loves people and inspired a generation to live their best.
Wow.
A man of faith who loved people and inspired his generation to live their best.
Man, you nailed it. That story is so inspiring. I see myself in that story. So that's amazing. So what's that one thing you hope people never forget about Eyong, Takang, Enoh? One thing you hope people never forget about it.
Well, I really want people to never to forget that I'm also a human.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I think one of the things that the misrepresentation of leadership, the misrepresentation of positional leadership, that and especially in the church, the charismatic, is that leaders are supposed to be perfect. Leaders are never supposed to be human. Leaders don't get tired. Leaders are all. So I really just want people to remember that every leader is a human that has human needs, that is not perfect, that has mistakes, that is vulnerable. A leader that is also learning, a leader that is also growing. So I want people to remember that I need, the same way they need help, I need help. The same way they need counsel, I need counsel. This disposition is what helps me to keep growing. This disposition is what helps me to keep connecting with other people's challenges and to stay human. And I think that if people see me like that, and I see them like that, we can all be added value to one another. I don't want anybody to forget that I'm just a human. I'm also a young boy grew up in Tico, was born in Kumba, and we all have unique opportunities equally. 24 hours is for everybody. 7 days a week is for everybody. A year and all the days in it, the same I have is the same you have. And so I'm not special, but we can do special things together.
There we go. Quick facts. Who is your wife's best friend apart from you?
Oliver, I didn't see this coming, man.
This is an atomic bomb. Oh,
okay. My wife's best friend is her cousin. She lives in the Netherlands. She's called Cecilia. It's her cousin. They're very close. They interact a lot. And she really, really is a great blessing, a family. So she's her best friend, as far as I know.
I love that, bro. Best advice your parents ever gave you, either from your mom or dad?
Okay, my dad's advice is juggled into two. I remember when I was still in secondary school and I did well. I was coming first, second. And my dad had a statement he made to me. When I came back, he would look at my result and say, oh, you okay, good. And then he would tell me, you haven't done hard enough. Now, I didn't understand what it meant. Every time I came with a good result, he was like, oh, amazing. Then he said, you haven't done hard enough. What he meant by was that what you did today is amazing, but you're going to need to do hard enough to do the next thing. And so it was a preparation for me not to settle on yesterday's success. To say that after the success, the next day is coming. You need to have to be consistent, to keep going on and on and on. And my mom usually used a wisdom quote from her grandfather that her grandfather used to say to her, is that if everybody knew how tomorrow will look like, they might not make the decisions that they make today. So, but I took that and I align it with Tim Grover's quote. Tim Grover is one of his powerful quote that I love so much. He was Michael Jordan's coach for years, helped him to become one of the most performant athletes in the world. And he said this, he talked about, if you think that the price of winning is too much, he said, wait till you receive or you get the bill from regret. That's actually an advanced version of what my mom was telling me from the grandfather.
Wow.
That there is something called the bill of regret. And it's a feeling that people have if they didn't do certain things that they were supposed to do. And one of the things in that quote that gets my attention is that bill from regret is generational. Now, the bill that my parents didn't pay, it has to come on me. If it's a bill of ignorance, it's a bill of no action, it's a bill of sloppishness, it's a bill of debt, financial illiteracy, is going to come on me. Now, if I don't pay the bill of paying, I'm going to pass that over to the next generation. So someone must rise up. And I think you listening to me, you are that one. For your family, for your generation, for your nation, for your city. You are that one to pay the price of winning so that the next generation cannot get into the bill of regret.
Hey, yo, man, like, me too, I'm learning. So, what's your favorite book ever read? I know the Bible is one of them, you know.
Yes, my favorite book ever read was the book written by Mike Murdoch. It is called The Law of Recognition.
Wow.
That was a book that shifted my life completely years ago when I was still in university, and I started building the habit of reading books. The Law of Recognition completely shifted my life. The second book that I read that completely shifted my life was a book on purpose by Dr. Miles Monroe of late memory. The book on purpose, rediscovering purpose. That was the book, Rediscovering Purpose. The second follow-up to that book is called The Pursuit of Purpose. So those two books are very powerful key books that shifted me as far as walking in purpose is concerned.
I love that. As a man of faith, your favorite scripture in the Bible?
As a man of faith, my favorite scripture is, all things were created by him and for him. That is in Colossians chapter 1, from verse 15, 16 to 18. There was nothing that was made that was not made by him and for him. And so I love this verse because it encapsulates everyone and calls everyone back to their creator and reminds people that whatever you have, whatever you're doing, was not for you. It was for him. And it's a call back home.
I love that. And lastly, 3 things you can travel for your speaking gigs, coaching gigs, mentorship gigs without having along with you. I'm dropping down my scripts.
My Bible is important to me.
Okay.
My tablet, I have a tablet where I jot my notes. They are very, very important to me. At least 2 to 3 books that I'm reading during that period. My diary, which I journal certain things down. They are very, very important to me. Pictures of my kids, my family, my wife, I go along with it. I'm always looking at those things. And then I have a separate book where I have my purpose statement, mission statement, life statement. I go everywhere with it. It's always with me, and it's always. Then finally, my phone. Anything that is important to me is in front of my phone. My business is called 4P Baller. The logo is always on my phone. Every time someone calls me, that's the first thing I see. So I go with it everywhere. So these are the things that are important for me everywhere I go.
Eyong, I know you have parting word as we close the curtains of this conversation. Now, this exercise. Speak directly to that 17-year-old Cameroonian, Nigerian, or Chicago standing at the crossroads. What would you say to help them find fire in their storm right now? There's a young woman right now who is battling with trauma and suicide. A young boy has been so much indebted, in pain, in regret, that he is battling and contemplating death and life right now as we're having this conversation. So please look to the camera and talk to that young woman right now, to that young man, on the importance of finding back his or her fire and sticking to it.
Okay, great. I love this so much. Why? Because it speaks to my heart. Now, to that person who is listening, watching, or probably you get to this later on, let me tell you something. Whatever situation you are experiencing right now, someone had experienced it before and they walked out of it. You're not the only one. You're not the first one. I want to take you a Bible picture to show something with you. Think about Joseph. If you were in Joseph's shoes, his own family sold him out as a slave. He went on a journey in a strange land where he knew nobody. Now, when he thought things were getting better for him, the very house where he had become doing prospering, they set him up to go to jail. Now, think about that. When you felt like light was coming, it's like you went back into the pit. But something kept Joseph going. There was a dream that God had put in his heart. He saw a dream of the future that he was going to become. Listen, I want to tell you, that dream is not dead. The reason why you see yourself completely lost and there's no hope is because you're not seeing that dream. As I'm speaking to you now, that dream is coming back alive. That dream is coming back alive. That dream is coming back alive. And because that dream is alive, the gifts also are also coming back alive. Some of the gifts which you had forgotten them, but they are also coming back alive. And I came to tell you, every pain, every challenge you went through was to make your story the most impactful, the most transformational, and the most inspiring story any human being has ever heard. Because God didn't want your story to be a smooth story. He wanted your story to be a special one. This one, when you come out of it, the world will hear you and it will make a big difference. There is hope, there is truth, there is power, and there is purpose in your experience. Just one more day. Give yourself one more day after listening to this, and you wake up a different person, and the world will know that someone was born out of that situation.
Man, you're the well best. You nail it. you nail it, bro. Wow. So comment, let's know which part of the world you're watching us from. You're in Chicago, you are in Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, Singapore, Germany, United Kingdom, France, Italy. Let's know where you're watching from and drop your biggest nugget. And so, Eyong Enoh, where can people get to you for mentorship? How can people contact you? Which social media platforms? Any email, any website that they can reach out to you, please?
Yes, I've got. You can check on my website www.eyongenoh.com. www.enoheyong.com. You can check on it. You will find everything about my mentorship, about my coaching, everything. You will find it there on that website. And then for my books, if you go there, everything is there on my website www.eyongenoh.com. You can find everything on my website, and you can reach out to me. My email is there. Everything is on that platform. And anytime you want to reach me. And for those of you who are not able to do that, you know Coach Oliver, just connect with Coach Oliver and we will get in touch with you.
Great. And of course, we just dropped the website so anybody can check it out. Pretty good. If you want to reach out to Eyong, and you don't know how to, you can reach out to me and I'll link you up, and that'll be cool. If you're permitted, sir. So that'll be pretty cool. Whew, man, the fire want to kill me. Like, I'm burning in fire. Wow. So thank you so much, big bro, role model, mentor, coach. This is beyond a gift. This is huge, and generations upon generations upon generations will live to remember this day and this podcast. This was one of the best ever, and we want to say from the depth of our hearts, in behalf of the Global Speakers Advantage podcast team, to say thank you for giving your best and not your better version or any other thing, but the best to us at this moment, because we needed this, your best now. And that reminds us of your quote that says, don't rock the world of a better you. And you actually manifested that particular quote here. And we want to say thank you. And we're looking forward to do great, amazing things together with you, so we can touch lives and change voices in every corner of the world. Thank you so much. I extend our regards to your lovely family, beautiful wife and kids. And to all of us watching around the world, if you want to become the listener of the week, of course, you love the beautiful stories that we heard from listeners of the weeks. And that is how we are actually drawing the curtains, except our guest has something to say, because we're actually drawing the curtains of this. Eyong, any last word?
Well, I think we've had a great time. I want to encourage everyone to take this wisdom, put actions to it, listen, continue to follow the global, this platform. Continue to follow and listen to other speakers, because you need to keep growing. You need to keep listening to the right things. Just one sessions like this is not enough. You need to keep listening, keep following, be in that environment, be in this community of change makers, make happiness. People don't just dream, they take actions.
Yeah.
Let stories continue to inspire you. Pile inspiration upon inspiration until you walk in explosive movement. So that's what I want to encourage you. Stick with this community. Continue to connect, continue to grow yourself. And I'm looking forward to hear your story, that powerful testimony from you.
Thank you so much. And a big shout out to all our viewers from around the world. Luke is watching from Douala. Monica, Kele, Wana is watching from Cameroon. So thank you so much. Kelvin for watching from Cameroon, Yaoundé. Luke, having a vision can transform your life. If yours is unclear, seek guidance, let it enforce and redirect your path. Amazing, amazing. And so, just once in a while, let's hear voices of our listeners from around the world and the feedback that.
Hello world, I'm called Professor Kisa. I'm the founder and executive director of DSR Academy and the co-founder of Dare TV Show. I am from Bamenda, Cameroon, and I am this week spotlight listener of Global Speaker Advantage podcast. Why do I tune in every Tuesday and Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me of my voice, my story, and my purpose, how it matters to the world, both locally and globally. Since I've been listening, I've gained insight from top global speakers on how to restructure my organization to create more impact. I've learned the importance of investing in my reputation. If you are out there watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep watching Global Speaker Advantage podcast, because it's not just a show, it's a movement. Thank you very much, Oliver Sean, for creating this platform, and I am honored to be this week's spotlight listener of Global Speaker Advantage.
Hello all, I'm Bini Stephanie from Bamenda, Cameroon. I am this week's spotlight listener of the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. And why did I tune in every Tuesday and Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me that my voice, my story, and my purpose matters, both locally and globally. If you're listening to this, I just want you to keep watching. I want you to keep moving. I want you to understand that life is a journey and we should never give up. Keep watching the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, because someday you will tell your own story.
Every successful person has once been a contender that refused to give up. Hello everyone, I'm Takang from Yaoundé, Cameroon. Listening to the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, I have learned that success is not a destination but a journey. Every person I've listened and watched through the Global Speakers Advantage podcast have gone through struggles, setbacks, and failures, but they all refuse to yield to it. They all overcome it. So I have learned to hold on to my struggles, to trust the process, and to keep showing up every day, even when it gets tough. So I invite you to keep listening to the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, because
Hello world, my name is Fondini Prosper Wisani from Kribi in Cameroon. I'm this week's spotlight listener on Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Why I tuned in on Tuesday and on Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire me, it ignites. It reminds me that my story, my voice, and my purpose matter locally and globally. Since I have started listening, I have gained the courage to start speaking and taking public speaking courses. It's like having a front row seat to greatness every single week. To anyone out there watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep listening, because the Global Speakers Advantage podcast isn't just a show, it's a movement. thank you, Coach Oliver, for creating this platform.
Hello, Sir Eyong Enoh. It is a great honor speaking with a great striker, captain and co-founder of Ballers in God and AVFS of your caliber. Now, it is rare to see celebrities who love God the way you do. Especially in the game world, it is more scarce. So, sir, how do you manage the fear of God and fame? In fact, sir, please can you tell us about your salvation story?
Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Ogalon Matthias, a professional player at Real Good Soccer Academy. My question is, do you love what you are doing? Because to go higher in this stage, you have to love what you are doing. You have to love waking up every day, putting in the work, putting in the training, showing up consistently for matches. So the key thing is you have to love what you are doing. Do you love what you are doing? Thank you.
And that was how we saw it for today, dear listeners from around the world. If you want to become the listener of the week, grab the number on the screen, send us a WhatsApp notes, and we're going to guide you on what you can do to become the listener, so we can be able to share your perspective about the podcast or during the live session, just like what happened today. And so if you enjoy the podcast, share with your loved ones. If you know somebody who needs to hear this, who need to listen to this podcast, share this episode with that person. If you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, share and bless that one with this particular episode, because like it was fire and it blessed you. If it does, then make it be a blessing to another person. And that was how we are closing the curtains of today's conversation with our esteemed guest, Eyong Enoh. My name is Oliver Shom, and I was your host. And this is where we give your voice the wings to fly. And until we meet again, I remain your host, and looking forward to see you at the top. And God bless you. Bye.